Well, welcome everybody. My name is Dan Vlamis. I'm with Huron Consulting Group and also the president of Analytics and Data Oracle User Community. We're going to talk today on our favorite features of OAC. This is especially to go over, really new features that have appeared in the product most recently, and those. By calling it favorite features, we're allowed to, show some things that maybe aren't in the January release, which is the most recent release of OAC, but we can also pick out some things that are previously in there, and sometimes we delve into things that are coming up, depending on what can be talked about. I'm going to be joined by Wayne.vansluys with Argano, and we also are our mystery guest from Oracle Analytics Product Management this time is Philippe.lions. Joining us from Oracle Analytics Product Management. I'm going to go through some introductory remarks, and then we will get into the meat of the topic. So welcome, everybody. Also, if you have Q&A, we welcome you to put that in the Q&A widget on the Zoom control. We'll try and handle that as we go through the webcast. Otherwise, if you want to just say hello, where you're from, you can put that in the chat. I happen to be talking to you from warm Kansas City, Missouri. It's been gorgeous here. I don't know, spring came early to the center of the country, or maybe we're going to get that cold blast that comes. Anyway, say hello. We are a community. I'll get into that. We also have some helpful links. I'll ask others to put those in the chat feature so you can click on those. You'll find Oracle Product Management puts out these videos of the new features, and there's some good stuff in there. So you should all check it out in there. There specifically is a video on OAC Jan 24 features, and that's where I go to learn about these things in little quick 2-minute, 3-minute videos that they put on each of those features. I'll show that in a little bit in my segment. Also, the big place to go is the new features documentation. This URL works on whatever release you're on. They keep on adding to the new features. Every 2 months, they come out with new things. There's also an Oracle Analytics community place where you can put in your suggestions. There's an Idea Lab, the link from there, and their ever popular OA Live. There's a link from that. There's examples in here and live demos that you can look at, including you can run the software yourself, even if you don't have an account on these live demos area. You can't make edits, but you can run a lot of the samples that are in OAC. So this is in a series of webcasts that we're doing on, and we have a bunch of them about every 2 weeks. Analytics and Data Oracle User Community puts out a TechCast, and you can see the schedule that's in here. That's from before, and then we'll continue on. You can go to this URL, andouc.org/techcasts, to either see the replays, literally 4 years of these things, 5 years, I guess, going back of TechCasts that we've done. And a quick plug for the Data Exploration Made Easy with Oracle ADS by Phil Godfrey is coming up on March 7th. If you look at the TechCasts that are out there now, this is what it looks like. This is at AnDOUC.org. You can see all the ones that are coming up for this. You can also submit your own idea for a TechCast. We'd love to have you present on this. That goes to our steering committee, and you too could be presenting one of these. We also have merch for Analytics and Data Oracle User Community. Help support us. You can go to the store page on here, and we're part of a community, so here's all the links. We'll make the slides available on our main TechCast page, and then you can join our, probably the most popular is the website and then the Slack workspace for that. And this is where you can find all of the YouTube videos of the previous TechCasts in here, and say hello out in our various areas as well. Quick plug for our upcoming conference. If you're into this type of topic, if you're interested in analytics and data, you really need to look into joining us on the Analytics and Data Summit 2024, taking place on the Oracle Redwood Shores campus. And that takes place April 9 through 11. You can get more information at andouc.org, AND Summit 2024, or just go to the website and we link to it. Registration's now open. We'd love to see you at the conference. Everybody there is passionate about this stuff, and we'll have some hands-on labs where you can learn this stuff, bring your PC. You can see pictures from last year. So come join us. All right, with that, I'm going to welcome my panelists, Philippe and Wayne, and we're going to go through some new features to be discussed. I'm going to talk about these topics in here, and then Wayne's going to go through especially some of the new features that he's excited about in maps. And then Philippe's going to show several things, conditional icon scatter plots, and some additional preview features. With that, let me jump in. Rather than giving you a bunch of PowerPoint slides, we kind of believe here in showing the software off. So I'm going to flip to a screen where I have a visualization. This you will find, by the way, in the demo area on the partner site or on the features site for those that run the live area with the URL that I shared before. And just so you know, I'll sneak in an extra little feature that I want to show you. We now have a navigational menu that's available in the release of OAC. And I can open up something like this Jan OAC samples, and this provides, in effect, what I think of as similar to the old dashboards capability, the ability to link directly to workbooks in here. And you can save, when you're saving a project, we're saving a workbook, you can specify, I want to add it to the navigational menu. You'll see that in the catalog area, and it adds a dashboards folder. I'm not sure exactly, I'm still learning how that works, but that makes it so that these appear in the list of features, and you can navigate to, for instance, this Jan 24, 2024 features. I made a copy of it so I can show you some additional features. And by the way, I'll also plug, hey, if you have questions, put them in the Q&A widget. We'd love to handle them as this goes along. So, all right. So then one of the things that's new in this release proper is the ability to export to Excel. So let me show you what that looks like. If I click on this visualization and then do an export, we have the ability to export to a file. If I drop this down and I can export, you're probably familiar with exporting to PowerPoint or the data, and yay, here's the new capability to export to Excel. Those of you that like to change some of the defaults may say, well, that's not new, I've had that. Well, this was available in preview, and it's been in preview for a while, and Oracle must feel confident enough now to flip the switch to make that available even when it's not in preview. So now when I choose Excel export of this, and it's going to take the active visual, so it's going to bring this viz into Excel, and when I save that away, it's exporting it as an XLSX file, including the formatting, and this is available for your tables and your pivot tables to export those to Excel. Notice this depends on how you have your browser configured, how exactly this appears. See that I actually tried this before, so that's why it's number 2. And if I click on this guy and then click on this, it will load Excel for me, and I will see, I'll move that window up and show you what appears. Here is the export of what I was just looking at, exported to Excel with the proper, notice the gray shading in here that's very faint. It's bringing that in here, the formatting, including a $sign. All that type of stuff comes across, including the grand total. All that is in there. Notice that it brings the total as a total, not as a formula. These are some of the nuances you'll get into as you start to use this. But it does a decent job of trying to preserve as much formatting as they effectively can bring over to the Excel stuff. This is why it took a while. It's not just bringing the data, it's bringing the formatting as well. If I then want this visualization, I click on that one, and then one of the other things you can do is right click. Well, let me show you something in here. If I come in and change this formatting, just to prove that the formatting comes over, I'm going to bring this as currency, and let's say decimal places of 0. We don't want that. And now if I export this as file, and bring this to Excel. By default, it goes to PowerPoint, but I can bring it to Excel. And if I include it, it's going to include the active visual. I wouldn't be surprised if later on we can bring more things like all of the things in a canvas. I don't know where they are in that in the Oracle queue of enhancements. It's one of the things I would want is, hey, I want both of these exported to Excel. But whatever, for now, that's not a choice, and it's going to bring just the active visual on here. By the way, offer to Wayne and Philippe, if you want to jump in and provide color commentary, you're welcome to on here. Now, if I look at this export file, this is something everybody wants, is the ability to export to Excel and have it in Excel itself. Great, here it comes. And now there it is with 0 decimal places and a $sign in here as well. And you can see it's bringing the actual number, but bringing the formatting that comes along to round that off. There are some other things. This was added before, the ability to specify K in here to specify the scale on those, and you can hard code the scale to thousands, millions, and so forth, or allow it to determine based on the data. So anyway, all this is available. Export to Excel, great, brings the formatting and so forth. While I'm showing export, another thing you may have noticed, here is something you can snap with your smartphone, a QR code that will bring this up, and we have the ability to pick which canvas that's going to start on. That affects the QR code that appears in here, and you can share this on social media. That type of thing is in here as well. This makes it easier to bring these up on a mobile device, or you can copy that link, and that brings up a link to this specific page of, well, it's, if I say selected canvas, and I copy that link, and I come in here and open a new tab, that should place in the clipboard this place, and that's going to bring me exactly where I am in its saved state in here. Okay, so that's the export to Excel. Oh, one other thing I want to mention, while the export to Excel is there, frankly, you should encourage your user not to use it. I know this is a hard thing, but you know, the product has come along to where you can do all of your formatting, all of the analysis that you do, really, in my opinion, should be done as much as possible in the Oracle Analytics Cloud so that it's able to be shared with others. Once you export it to Excel, you're bringing the data and you lose all the governance. You don't know where it's going to go. People can change the numbers, all that type of stuff. So it, and you do have the ability, by the way, to turn that off if you don't want people to be able to do that. That's via the fine-grained access control. All right. The other thing I wanted to show was the ability to show reference lines. This is something that the ability to put in reference lines in general has been in the product for a while. I'll show you what that looks like. I included one in here. If I just turn this on, you'll see we'll have a horizontal reference line that shows the average in this case. I set it to the average, and that gray line is showing the average or the maximum or the minimum, that type of thing. What's new is the ability to have reference lines that are on categorical axes. Here we're looking at ship date, and we have as a goal as an organization, we want to be able to ship by 12/14/2016. So we want to put a pink line on here, and we can specify the color for that. We've added a reference line. I can turn these on and off. Let me turn off the one on the horizontal. It just confuses this. But we can specify in here a specific date that I want to appear as the deadline. If I want to change it to the 14th, that's going to move, and so forth. We have the ability to change the color of that reference line, and I have the ability to change the transparency. You can see, I guess that blue may not show up so much, so let me make that more less transparent. Let's make that 25%. And you can see the blue probably a little better. And when you hover over it, you can see the description that's entered in here. And this allows us to create visualizations that include something that shows, you know, what our goal is. Now, what's missing, quite frankly, Oracle, if you're listening, is the ability for me to, that's great, I can hard code this to 12/13/2016. I want the ability to create a variable based on this. Well, this actually is a preview release, so you can see we actually have the ability to bind it to a parameter. That's coming in March, I understand. But then I want to be able to specify another formula for this. That's coming as well. You can kind of get around it by another feature that I'm going to show here quickly, but I want to be able to put a formula in here as well to put these reference lines. And you can determine the type of reference line. This is one that is a band that has a from and a to. So you have all of these dates in here. So that would work on all sorts of different axes. All right. Is still, and this is the other capability is still here to base it on a measure, that type of thing. The other thing I wanted to show was a parameter now can be based on a calculation. If you have not seen parameters, you really need to look into them. Every single release, Oracle is adding new capabilities to what are called parameters. In here, you're familiar with probably this, the ability to drag over some of the columns that you want to appear in the visualization, the different types of vises, and you can perform analytics. And now we have the ability to create parameters. This has been in the product for, gosh, a year or so, and they keep adding new capabilities. I added one called p_bar target date to be able to play with this, so I could experiment with that. But what's new is the ability now to come in and edit this parameter. It's right now, you can specify available values of specific values. I'm not going to give the full thing. What's new is the ability when you're specifying a parameter value, you can now select not just columns for those that are valid values, but I can specify a parameter such as I created one called target date, and I can also enforce what values are in here by adding more values, what or the first available value. I can do a logical SQL query, all that stuff. It's a very powerful capability to add variables that the user controls or the developer controls into this. And now I can go and point that to, in this case, a target date. And you'll see I cheated. My target date is a very simple formula, but it's a calculation that is, I hard-coded it to 12/16/2016. And so now I can specify that and use that parameter in my dashboards. I can, if you haven't seen it, I can drag it up here as a filter, all sorts of things like that to control the application. Look at other videos on parameters if you want to know more. With that, that's especially what I wanted to go through on my new favorite features on here. I kind of showed the navigational menu. When you save, by the way, in here, I'll just show this real quick. When you save as, I have the ability to save it and then be able to specify adding it to a workbook. So I canceled out. So anyway, with that, I'm going to turn things over to Wayne and let him go through his favorite features. Wayne, go ahead and share your stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. One last thing. I forgot to mention it. I'm going to go back to slides. I did not prepare a full demo of it. It gets into it, but there is an API to handle catalog objects for fine-grained permissions. This is the ability to inspect the catalog and work with it. If I click on this YouTube video, I'll just go ahead and just advance and show. If you want to know more, check out these videos. This is the ability to get catalog information, and there's an API now. If you want to program these things, you want to copy a workbook and call it something else, or modify a workbook programmatically, we have that capability, and that API has all sorts of things in there that you can manipulate the catalog in here. So take a look if you're into that and look at it more. I'll also take the opportunity to showcase, I'm sharing. I'll showcase, these are all the videos that Oracle has put out. Here's information on conditional decorations. This is where I learned how to export to Excel and how it works. This is the stuff on formatting reference lines. All this is in here. and then you can check out more details in the documentation. All right, now I'm done, Wayne. Sorry about the miscue. You go ahead and share what you wanted to talk about.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, folks. If you know anything about me, I love maps. I love presenting on maps. I love working with maps. And I've been presenting at Kscope and Ascend on this topic for years. So some of the new features that have been extended are the style formatting of the map layers and the ability to find grain, change colors, change sizes has been there. The color changing has come forward, and it's really kind of neat. So I'm able to say my customers are my little black dots here, and for the longest time I could not change those colors except by using the data layer to assign a color. So now we have the ability to change that color of that dot in this case. One thing I didn't even know about, maybe I just don't pay attention sometimes, but I could do a heat map of my customers, which is really kind of cool. But we'll keep it as a dot. And so from the color piece, it's been set to auto, but I can do a custom color, right? And now I can change that from the color palette. And why did you not cut it? Oh, it's still black. I can make it red. There you go. Now, one thing that I've found is I like working with custom regions. I created a custom region using Spatial Studio of combining some of my counties. Now, again, color is tied because of the color thrown in as my sales region. But if I take this away, by default, it goes to black or to a gray. And again, the color for the background or for just regions without any data on it can now be changed. If I go in again to changing out my color to custom, and I can again change that to maybe white. And well, then I got to change the outlines because the outlines were white, right? So now I can change the outline of those regions to be my black. And one other layer that they just added as well is the thickness can be changed. So that is really, really interesting and fun to work with. Now, I was just messing around with my map, my supplier map here, and I wanted to put my regions onto the Missouri boundaries in that map layer. So if I take that map layer, bring in my region name, right? And we put that into my location because I have it tied to location. Now it's dark, right? And it's problematic for me to see. So I'm going to go back to the layer and I am going to go to my map layers, go to my region. I'm going to set my transparency to about 60%, 80%. I'm going to change my color of the background to my white. And my boundaries to my black. And now I can see all of my suppliers and my customers within that region, which is kind of nice. Since I had my custom regions, I want to see the boundary layer and those people. So from my perspective, I am loving what Oracle is doing with the map layer and its format capabilities. they
Hey,
keep.
Wayne, quick question on the yeah, so see you have like three different layers here. Can you
Mhm.
alter the order of these layers? Do you know?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so that would be the changing the order. Okay, great. Because
Yeah,
otherwise,
there's a section called manage layers.
okay,
So if I come here,
yeah, and change them in there.
I,
Okay,
I can
oh,
change my
super.
order, bring
Okay, thank
forward,
you.
bring back.
Yep, just what I would expect. Cool.
So yeah, I would probably want to put the
Yeah,
the region one to the back.
yeah.
So
You
that
can
that way.
you can tinker around with these till. Yeah, but this looks cool. Thank you.
So this is actually from my presentation at Kscope last year, where I showed how to create custom regions using Spatial Studio and then bringing that piece back into the ADW that I'm querying, so then it creates a first-class object for me to work with.
Cool.
So yeah, that's from a formatting perspective, a lot has been added into the style capabilities of the mapping layer, and I'm really getting excited about it now.
Yeah.
So
Excellent.
with that, passing off to Philippe.
Hey, thanks, Wayne. This is great. Thanks for showcasing the map capabilities. I'm also a big fan of maps, as you may know, and I have more exciting news for you on maps. Hopefully, I'll have time to show a few things in a minute.
Okay.
But thanks for showing this. Very exciting.
Cool.
Let me quickly share on my side. Um, so sorry, I'm looking for the share button here. Here we
Bottom of
go.
the
Yep. You'd think I'd know by now, but okay, screen 3. Can you see my canvas coming up or my?
Yep.
Yeah. So thanks everyone. So I want to talk to you about a couple of things. So I'm Philippe, by the way. I'm working in the product management group for Oracle Analytics, and just like my pals here, I'm pretty passionate about the product. So I want to talk to you about a few things that were added in January. Conditional decorations is an example of what I want to talk about, and also talk about some features that have existed for a while already, but I think they're really exciting. And time permitting, I'll also open into something that is coming next week. Actually, not next week, next month in March, and that relates to map as well. So this is for some reason I don't see my. Okay, here we go. Let me navigate a little bit my canvas here. So this is a canvas with a sample of the lines data. And what I want to show you is that as part of the conditional formatting, there's a new capability added in January, which is the ability to add custom icons. In fact, if I wanted to create one more condition in my conditional formatting, I can influence the color of the column that we're going to show, its font, but now I can also add an icon or an emoji as a decoration on the canvas, or a note. A note is a Oracle Analytics note. It's a little, let me actually add a note as a note and a tooltip. Actually, do I have that? Let me pick this one because I know I have data in this case. So note and note and tooltip. Example, and I could also add influence the legend here. But if I go and save this, so now I'm going to activate that rule. I'm not even sure which rule is it that I add. I think it was number 1. No, number 2. So I'm going to. You can see one that I had built already with different icons, but I'm going to disable this one and enable another one. This one. And here's a note. See, that comes up, and hopefully there is a note popping up in the tooltip as well. So this is a capability that is trivial, but that you can. It's very simple to operate, and you can mix most of it in decorating your dashboards and your canvas in a neat way.
So
This is
Philippe,
Jan. Yep.
if you export that, do the emoticons go with it to Excel?
I should have expected that question. I don't know. Maybe we'll ask Dan. Did you try that, Dan?
No, I didn't try that. I'm still getting used. It's funny, Philippe, the conditional formatting is something that ought to be used a ton, and it
Yeah.
just doesn't come up as much.
Yeah.
It's almost as if we got used to it not being there, and
Could
now
be.
it should be used. And now the conditional decorations, I'm on the fence. These are cute. Everybody wants to use the smiley face and sad face, but it can be useful because it can be, well, is a higher number good or is a higher number bad? It depends on the type of number. So for that, I think the business purpose is great. Otherwise, sometimes it's a little bit of demo candy. But keep
Yes.
going.
Well, it's available. It's there. It helps to make the dashboard quite more interactive.
Yeah.
And I don't know the question about the
Yeah, the
exporting.
exporting, I don't know. I assume they don't come over. I think that'd be hard, but I don't know.
I'll ping Avinash on this. He's
Yeah.
a PM for this.
Yeah.
So another one that I also want to remind you with is an interesting one about scatter plots. I happen to love scatter plots as well, pretty much as maps. So this is a simple scatter plot. Let me actually reset the color of this workbook here. Okay, so we can see it better. And all right, so here is let me actually even change this to auto min data for axis so that we basically zoom on that vis. So we don't start at 0. What I just did is I went into the properties and changed the starting values to be the min data, which is, as you notice, a little bit below the min data, so we have room to see it. Okay, so now let me throw a little bit more dots into this by saying we are looking at quarters or years by customer segments plotted for sales and profit. This is hard for me to read, right? At least it's simple viz, but look at this simple feature here that adds a line to it. So what is that line? That line is just sequential, taking the year sequence. In this case, it's a chronological sequence, and it shows me how things have evolved. So from, in fact, why don't I add a data label, 2013 to 2016. Now I can see how different segments, let me do this in product category, see if we have better luck, have evolved between sales and profit. And what if I wanted to see, so this is sales and this is profit. Let me do this, swap it. What if I wanted to do sales and profit, average profit? You guys know that by now you can override the aggregation rule on the fly in the grammar to say, now show me average profit by sales. Does my profit increase when I sell more? My average profit increase when I sell more? Not really. That's interesting and readable with the line when without the line. So let me turn the line off. It's actually harder to read, as you can see. It's giving me some insight, but the sequence doesn't appear clearly. The line makes the sequence appear clearly. By the way, just like you pointed out during the Wayne, sorry, the formatting capabilities exist for the line as well. We can change the size of the dots, size of the lines, thickness of the line. So that capability, as well as all the reference lining that you mentioned a minute ago as well, Dan. So let me say, I don't want a line, I want a band, and I want that band to be a not a min and max, but I want to be a sigma. So this is 1 sigma horizontal on sales, and this is 1 sigma on average profit as a band. So I can have fun with this, and it's really easy. I can basically build quadrants and have something really meaningful to look at using all these capabilities. I just wanted to remind you that line capability because I love it, and it helps me change the way that I'm consuming scatter plots. And we can do lots of things with this. One quick thing
building
also,
on that, if I might add, one of the things we do is we routinely put an average line on the horizontal and the vertical, and we talk about the 4 quadrants, and we say, what does it mean in your case to have high sales and high average profit, and what does it mean to have low average sales? And we talk about, in the class that we give, Tim and I give, we talk about what what products or what resources should we expend on the upper left-hand quadrant and the lower left, upper right-hand quadrant and the lower left-hand quadrant. And it provokes a very interesting business discussion on this type of stuff. And then I agree with you, scatter plots are underutilized. So keep going.
Underutilized, and you, to your point, okay, here's my quadrant, and right there you have a business discussion that can go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here is another quick one on not only scatter plots, but let me show it with scatter plots though, that I want to remind, or you're probably aware of it, but this is a scatter plot with so many points, right? So I'll save you from the formatting discussion and the reference line discussion. Let me go with clustering. You're familiar with this. I can ask the system to cluster the dots on whatever it is that I have here, which is profit and sales. And I can modify this, make it 3 or 2 or whatever, or 4, or change the algorithm as well. And this will recalculate. Okay, cool. Now, this is plotting individuals on sales and profit. And I like the groupings because they look coherent to me business-wise. And I would like to reuse these groupings for measuring other metrics with these groupings. So if you recall, when you click on clusters here, this is an object that has been added to the grammar. It's a calculated object. And as you can see, I can simply add it to my calculation. What does that mean? So if I collapse this now, well, I did rehearse this a moment ago. So this was just added. This is the one that we just got. This one existed before, I didn't. And now that's an object, right? So I could use this cluster that has been defined here to measure something else like discount, for instance. And I can create a best visualization. And these are my cluster. You want to see it? So if I click on this, this is this group. If I click on this, this is this group. And this is the other group, and so on. So, but this is measuring discount, which doesn't participate into defining the clusters. So I can easily now have some clustering that that I can reuse for cross analysis. And it literally took me 3 clicks to get there. That's pretty advanced. Now, if I take a quick peek at this, excuse me, I need to do this and edit. I will see, this is just a comment, but I will see the whole. Let me zoom in a little bit. This is using the logical, this may look complex to me as a business user, but this is the exact calculation which is available in the logical calculation. I could have done it to start with, but this is too hard for me to understand. Only in this case, I went through it with a right click and it persisted it. And there is a little bit of a comment to tell me where it's coming from. I think that's, in combination with scatter plots, but not only scatter plots, with many other visas. You can use clusters in many other visas. It can help you get to powerful, meaningful results, visual results very quickly. I love that one.
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know if I have another 5 minutes.
We got time.
I'll take a peek on a different feature unless there are questions about this one.
I'll take the opportunity to mention people, hey, if you have questions, throw them in the Q&A. We'll try and handle them. We'll hopefully have some time towards the end. But I love seeing what Philippe comes up with this stuff. So go ahead, Philippe, and put your questions in Q&A. We'll try and address them.
All right, cool. All right, so now I want to step off of January release and talk a little bit about March release, just to show you a bit of a feature. And Wayne, you'll probably like this. I just need to get to the right browser. Yeah, all right, let's do this. Yes, in the March feature, in the March edition, there is a feature that we won't advertise much, but this team here, this group, this audience is familiar with Oracle Analytics and interested with Oracle Analytics. So that's something that you may be interested in. It's the ability to consume geometry data types. What is that? Geometry data types, if I go and show you an example here, here is a file that has a geometry column under the form of a W, so well-known text, WKT. So that's one type of geometry format. You may recognize, what I'm showing here. Each record has a polygon that is attached to it, and the polygon has a definition. That's just a norm, a commonly used norm for representing geometry data. When I now load this into OAC, it will recognize this as a geometry, and the data set now, see, there is a geometry type column. And if I OK this data set, it'll create, I already did, so I'm just going to open it in a different data set, but that geometry column, so let me see if I can see the other data set, Paris, I think it is. This. All right, so I already loaded it, and this is the data set we loaded. And if I double click on the geometry, there is no need for me to have a GeoJSON layer that has been uploaded to the system. This is going to simply show all my geometries, all my polygons, as is based on the Excel or the WKT CSV definition. Let me add a background to this so that it speaks a little bit more. Yeah, let's see this. And of course, if I change the definition of the data in my Excel file or my CSV file and refresh, this will change. So there go your custom regions, Wayne. I can change this directly in Excel and it will change here. And then of course, this is all, just like any other map that you're familiar with in OAC, with multiple layers and transparencies and whatnot. So this is some coloring that I've added. And of course, I can add other layers. So let me go into this and say, show me another layer on top of this. And that other layer, okay, has a different geometry on it. Let's see what this is. This is a different file that I've uploaded, and these are dots. Let me make them a little smaller. And so I think this is a one. So transparency outline should be oh no, that's the one. They got the same name. That's a polygon layer, and the other one is the point. And let's say the point, let me make it be a little smaller. And of course, what I'm doing here, I could do with a Oracle data set, right? So I can represent geometry as they exist in the database. So let me see. I think I have one example here. How about this one? I think it works. Does it work? Yes. So that's an Oracle table. An Oracle database, as well as some other database, support a data type of type geometry. So I showed you the one that I imported from a file, and OAC recognized it as a geometry. But now I could point to Oracle database table that has a geometry as well, and it would be recognized as a geometry. So if I double click on it, I will get whatever map that is so it's a map of a few block groups from, I think it's San Francisco. In fact, my environment doesn't have a background, so I have to do this manually. Bear with me. So let's go with Oracle BI. Why not? Yeah, this is San Francisco block groups. And here again, I could add other data sets. How about PL? Yeah, block groups. How about this one? And these are not objects that are based on a GeoJSON. They are simply reading the STO geometry in the database and projecting it on a map visualization. So I'm going to add another.
So Philippe, that's going to make it much easier for us to be able to integrate Oracle Analytics with things that we do in the Oracle database with the spatial data types.
Exactly. And so I have a good news and a not so good news. The good news is, the not so good news is that, so now just to finish my point and then I answer your question. You are asking about how can we manipulate a layer over another one? You see me doing this? I'm swapping from one to another one. And these are two different geometry layers. I can change the transparency very
Yep.
easily. Where's the transparency here? Okay, let me make this 50% or something. I can change the coloring, and I can also activate one or deactivate by simply clicking on it, as you know. So a user, a consumer could just play by clicking on the legend, activating this. And yes, Dan, so of course that helps a lot. So the great news is that in the next call or sometime in the future, I will show you something else, which is this. You can use some calculations measuring area, distance between two geometry. Are they related? Are they within a distance, and so on? So this is a basic, really basic of consuming STO functions, spatial functions in the database. It will function ship to the database. So OAC will not do this. It will push it down to the database if you're using a database. If you're using a text, OAC will do the computation, but that's super powerful, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And not so good news is that, as you suspect, a definition of a geometry like this can be very granular or less granular. But if it is very granular, the size that this takes in the database in kilobytes, just for that record, maybe, lots and lots and lots of lat longs, and it may be large in kilobytes to just represent that string or that binary
Right.
field. And of course, there is a physical limit to how much can be, if I wanted to fetch tens of megabytes of geometry definition in my browser, we will run into a performance issue. So there are constraints on that front, but so far from a functional point of view, I haven't yet really run into these issues. So, but they exist, right? These limits exist. That was the point I wanted to make sure you knew of. I'll stop here. Just if you're interested with this feature, if you're a use case, it is available in March release, but you need to ping Oracle for Oracle to activate this on your environments. So that's called a feature flag. It takes one SR and 1 day to activate it, and then you can enjoy it. I think I'm done.
That looks cool. We'll look forward to using that. And Philippe, we will likely invite you back to show this as part of, we'll be going over the March features in April in a TechCast. We do these every 2 months. This is February, covering the January features. We generally delay them a little bit, one, so that we can actually play with these a little bit. And the second is so that we, the audience, there's a good chance that they have this turned on in their environment. Otherwise, we're just showing them stuff and they have to keep track of it. So in April, this stuff will be available. I may have to do something like a feature flag, like Philippe was showing, that type of thing. A couple of things I want to do to wrap up. One is, Carrie, I think we have a poll. Get ready to fire that. But I do want to ask people what capabilities we're going to have at Analytics and Data Summit. I talked about this before. It's a conference taking place, smallish group of people. You'll get to know people and network with them. Think, 200, 300 type people at the conference. But we'll have hands-on labs that are going to be presented. I believe, Philippe, your team, or you're going to be presenting some of these. And we have kind of a beginner hands-on lab and a more advanced hands-on lab. And I thought I'd take the opportunity to ask people here, what capabilities would you like to see? And high priority, low priority, we're trying to make this simple for you to answer. A general introduction to Oracle Analytics, data visualization, ad hoc features. I recognize some people in the audience are OBIE users that are used to the classic interface, and they probably are chomping at the bit for these data visualization features. So maybe they're into that specifically. Map-related features, machine learning and AI. Gosh, we didn't even get into that, Philippe, really. There's so much in there. And something else, and you can put that into chat. And I'm going to leave the poll up for a little bit. so that we can get people to answer what they especially want to see in the Oracle Analytics hands-on labs that are going to take place. Make sure you bring your laptops, those that are coming, so you can play with the software, and you'll have experts in the room that can show you how to do some of this cool stuff. And we'll have examples to go through. You click through, and that's how you can also justify it to your management to attend the conference. 3-day conference. All right. I don't know if we have enough people that have voted on this. Maybe I give them enough chance to vote, but we'll close the poll in a little bit here. And we'll thank you for the answers. Looks like that's interesting. All right, so the visualization needs a little bit of work here in the light blue versus dark blue. But I'm going to take the opportunity here to capture this. Theoretically, I can look at it later, but I'm going to grab this now.
Dan, the light blue is, and you probably can't see this on the administrator side, the light blue is high priority, the dark blue is low priority.
So I see that data visualization ad hoc features is high priority, and machine learning and AI features win. So Philippe, that's your kind of takeaway on that. There's something else was lower priority. Maybe we hit some of the stuff that people are especially interested in. That's what people want to see. Fair enough? Trying to provide value to everybody on that. All right, let me go ahead and I will share one last time the conference that I was talking about, and then we'll wrap up. And by the way, if you have questions, throw them in the Q&A. Otherwise, let me show one last time. All right. So if you're interested in that conference, this is the information about the Analytics and Data Summit. And registration's open April 9th through 10th. You can go register here. We'll throw that URL in the chat if it's not already. But thank you, everybody, for joining in. And we'll talk to you in another couple months. And join our webcasts. And if you can present one, we'd love to have you share the stage as well on this. I don't see any questions in Q&A. So hopefully you'll have a chance to join us again and ask your questions. Anything else from Philippe or Wayne before I close?
Nope.
Thanks for having us, Dan.
Thanks, Philippe. Thanks,
Okay.
Dan.
We'll talk again. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Wayne.
Bye.